Hello, this is Brian J again, talking about women's MMA. And this past Saturday, a really big fight at women's MMA happened. Well, not a big fight, but it was an important fight between Randa Markos, who's in the top 10 at strawweight, taking on Alexa Grasso. Now, this is, I think, Alexa Grasso's second fight in Mexico. And she is Mexican, born and raised, and she was fighting in Mexico City for the second time. The last time Alexa Grasso fought in Mexico was on the undercard of the Tony Ferguson RDA fight. That was the fight with Tony Ferguson. He won by unanimous decision, and he beat RDA. And now he's working on trying to fight Khabib, and then hopefully later on he'll fight Conor McGregor sometime next year. Anyways, back to the Randa Markos Alexa Grasso fight. It was a great fight. It was the best fight of that night because most of those fights ended in the first round. Well, at least 7 of those fights. 7 of those fights ended in the first round. Some of those fights ended, I think, after the first round. And it was a great card. The main event was a very good technical fight. But the Alexa Grasso Randa Markos fight was a great back and forth fight. And I admit the fight could have gone either way. But there's no way that Alexa Grasso, got a hometown decision. It wasn't a home-cooked decision. I totally disagree with that. Because Alexa Grasso, she did enough to steal the first round in the last 2 minutes. She got top position against Randa Markos. She was hitting her with elbows, and she was outstriking her on the feet. She landed more strikes. The second round, Randa clearly won the second round. She dominated Alexa Grasso on the ground. She got 2 takedowns, and she was landing more strikes, way more strikes in the second round. So I thought Randa Markos did enough to win the second round. The third round, Alexa Grasso she probably lost the first 3 minutes, but then she came back and stayed on the feet. She was listening to her corner. Her corner told her to stop throwing kicks to the body. Alexa Grasso kept throwing kicks to the body, and Randa kept catching the kicks and kept taking her down to the mat, kept taking her down, and Alexa stopped doing that. So she was throwing kicks to her leg of Randa, but on the stand-up, she was just using her fist. And she was outstriking her really well in the last 2 minutes of the round. And in that round, when Randa took her to the ground, she didn't really do enough damage. Randa wasn't doing enough damage on the ground. Even when she got her down on top position, she was landing some strikes, but it wasn't as damaging as the second round. I think she was gassing out. She gassed out. But Randa, she got to the feet, and she tried to take Alexa Grasso down again, but Alexa tried to get her into a submission attempt, and choke her out while she was standing. Couldn't get it, but when they broke up, Alexa landed 2 strikes. She landed two strikes with her hands and almost landed a kick. And when Randa tried to get her against the cage, Alexa was outstriking her. She landed almost 3 strikes with her hands. She landed a right hand that hurt her and busted up Randa's face. Randa was bleeding. So I'm sorry, Randa, I love you. You are a decent fighter. You are better than a lot of people give you credit for, but I'm sorry. You lost the fight. You allowed Alexa to steal the first round and the third round, and you're making so many mistakes. I couldn't understand why Randa was trying to take down Alexa Grasso, and she sometimes would pull Alexa on top of her. It was just the dumbest mistakes. She would try to take her down, and then she would fall on her back, and Alexa would get top position. And I know people think that, well, if you win the first half of a round, then you win it. No, you have to win the majority of the round. You at least have to dominate the first 4 minutes of a round and maybe allow the last minute to be a little bit close, But Randa wasn't doing that. The last 2 minutes, if you finish strong in the last 2 minutes, it leaves a bigger impression on the judges. It just does. It's like that in boxing. You have to finish strong in a round to get into the judges' favor. And in MMA, you have to win the last 2 minutes in order to seal the round. And that's what Alexa Grasso did in the third round. She won the last 2 minutes. She finished strong. She was outstriking her. And, she has some holes in her striking game, but she's a banger. Alexa has some decent boxing skills. Her boxing skills are actually pretty good. She just kind of, she leaves herself open, and then sometimes she'll see an opening and you can tell she wants to throw, but then she doesn't throw it. She doesn't want to get countered. She gets nervous or something. I don't know what it is. But Alexa has a lot of improvement, and I think if her fight against Felice Herring was a 5-round fight, she probably would have won it. But it was 3 rounds, and she lost the first 2. I mean, she looked terrible against Felice Herring in the first 2 rounds. And in the 3rd round, she finally woke up, but it was too late. Here against Randa Markos, she got off to an early start, and she won the 1st round. But, yeah, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. And I was rooting for Randa Markos, but she clearly lost the fight. I'm sorry. Like, people can say that, oh, Alexa got a home-cooked decision. Like, no. It was just a close fight, and Randa lost. It probably could have gone either way, but she lost. And Randa can be a very beautiful fighter when she wants to be. Her movement is very beautiful, but she just makes stupid mistakes, like trying to go for a takedown, and then you pull Alexa on top of you. Like, what are you doing, Randa? This is why you have 6 losses now. 6 losses. Like, she's literally one of the most inconsistent, beautiful fighters I have ever seen in my life. She's beautiful the way she moves, the way she fights, but she's just very inconsistent. There are moments where she's good and then she sucks. And then sometimes she just sucks really bad. You know, but she has a lot to work on. She has to go back to the drawing board and hope she fights later on this year. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. And yeah, those are my thoughts. That's like, I guess, my post-fight analysis of the Alexa Grasso Randa Markos fight. It was a good fight, and I was rooting for Randa, so I'm disappointed she lost, but I'm happy for Alexa Grasso. And I hope to see Alexa fight in November, maybe. She could fight in the Garden. Why not? She could fight a top 10 fighter. She could fight Michelle Waterson, or maybe Tisha Torres. I think Tisha could beat her, but, you know, I think Michelle Waterson could probably beat her. But Michelle Waterson is, you know, fighting in this southpaw stance is not working out for her because she's not a southpaw. She leaves herself wide open for kicks to the head and for punches. Like, I don't know what Michelle Waterson is doing, but whatever. Yeah, and Randa, I don't know where she's going to be. I don't know what she's going to do next, but we'll see her again. And yeah, so that's it. That's all I have to say about this fight. This is Brian J. signing off.